welcome back to another episode of the Sister Talk podcast. I'm your host, Gold Chain Diva. And I'm just a sister who has a lot to talk about. And y'all know from week to week, I always got more and more to talk about. And since we missed an episode last week, this episode is going to be packed with a lot of information, okay? Now, what's been going on with your sister? Before we jump into the tea, what's been going on with your sister? So, your sister has been enjoying every moment of the summer. I know it's been 95 degrees every day since Glorilla dropped her latest song. It's 95 degrees and I ain't got no nigga, ain't no nigga, ain't got me. It's been 95 degrees every day since then. But I'm not going to complain. Listen, I told y'all early in the year that I wanted to go as slow as possible and I'm going to take in every minute that I can. So this year for me so far has been about being present and being in the moment and just experiencing all the joy that I can on a day-to-day basis. So I'm not going to complain about this 95-degree weather. I'm just going to continue to get in the pool every day. Simple solutions, easy mathematics. So your sister been chilling by the pool a lot more lately. So, if I look a little brown, that's because I've been sucking up the sunshine and the sun rays over the past couple of weeks. But outside of that, your sister has been doing good. Nothing really to, bask about. Everything is a status quo right now. So with that being said, I hope that you all have been having an amazing summer so far. I hope them kids have not been getting on your nerves. I hope they haven't been eating up all your food. And if they have, they only got that much time left before you can send them on back to school. So, just bask in this time with your children. Well, let's go ahead. Let's spill the tea. Let's spill the tea, okay? Put y'all pinkies up for this. So this episode mainly because one of the things that we missed over the last week without having an episode drop was the BET Awards. Now, I know everybody was talking about the BET Awards. And of course, most people haven't seen the entire show in totality. A lot of people have just saw clips on TikTok and Facebook, Instagram, and things of that nature. So your sister had to do her due diligence and be thorough. Okay. I ain't want to form my opinion off of what other people were posting. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch the award show. And that's what I did. So first things first, we're going to start off with the performances that I thought were sauce-worthy. So let's give a good old sauce-worthy round of applause for these people, okay? Now, the first person that I want to bring some type of attention to and give them their props is Victoria Monet. Now, if y'all don't know who Miss Victoria Monet, I get it from my own mama on my hood. I look fly, I look good. Listen, we all know it's an anthem, okay? The song been out for a nice little minute. It's been going up and I haven't gotten tired of it. Like, that's one of the songs I think on TikTok that's been popping that I have not gotten tired of. Like, I can still bop to that on any occasion. But the reason why I wanted to talk about Victoria Monet, because arguably, I think that she had one of the best performances on the BET Awards. Now, the reason why I wanted to give her props is because sis is, I don't know where she came from, okay? I don't know where she came from because I swear she just came out of nowhere because she I'm not going I know people will say that because they be like, oh, well, this person, their career, they've been, in the industry for 10 years. You just haven't been following them. And that's probably true. She probably has a whole catalog and a whole backing prior to my knowledge of her. But let me tell you something. If you're sleeping on this woman, don't sleep on her any longer. This lady, I think that she has, I'm not even going to say the potential. As new as she is in the game, sis is up there as far as an entertainer. She's up there on the level with Beyonce. She's up there on the level with Usher. Like all the great entertainers and performers. With all the entertainers and performers that are putting on these amazing shows, set design, choreography, all of that, that's doing amazing stuff, she's up there with them. I thought her set was one of the best ones because sis changed her set like 3 times in one performance. She started off with the, paying homage to how the video played out for, On My Mama. She came out, giving her swag. Dancers gave the choreography. They did what they were supposed to do. This, she switched over into a dance sequence where she kind of paid homage to Michael Jackson, and she killed it. Then after that, she switched out of Michael Jackson's outfit into like a more, island gal type of vibe. And she killed it in a whole set that was raining down water. So I just wanted to give her props because I think everything was executed well. The set was done well. The transitions were done well. Her dancers did an amazing job. And one thing notable about her, it's not many times that you find a person who is great at choreography and dancing, and also good at singing as well. So the fact that she's dancing and the mic is on, I think she deserves a round of applause. Now, the next person I want to talk about is Shabuzi. Now, I'm going to start by saying, okay, Shabuzi also did it for me. His performance did it for me because his set design was so elaborate. Like, it was so elaborate. It fit the song well. It fit the vibe well. I wasn't confused because one of the things I realized about the BET Awards, like within the last couple of years, is that some of these people, their set designs have nothing to do with the song. So I'm constantly just sitting there like, what's going on here? But when it comes to Shabuzi, I think that he did an amazing job. Now, what I will say is Shabuzi is a country American singer who's from Woodbridge, Virginia. Shout out to VA. And he's 29 years old. Now, the funny thing about his performance is like, I've heard his song. It's called a bar song, but it also goes by Tipsy. And I heard the song before because I'm pretty sure I heard it on TikTok, as most songs these days break on TikTok. And I heard the song, and the craziest thing to me was, if I would have never watched the BET Awards, I probably wouldn't have known that Shabuzi was black. Like, he's actually Nigerian. He's Nigerian, and he's a Nigerian American. And I would have never known. Like, like I know that country music originated with the kinfolk, okay? I know that it originated with us. I do know that. And it shouldn't be a surprise that, this young man has that type of voice and that type of presence. But I think the reason why it's so surprising is because we haven't seen a lot of that prior to this era of, black musicians now creating country music. And we would like to say that Beyonce, kind of blazed the trail and gave other people confidence to do the same thing. But I think that it was already a movement and she just helped push it along. Because he actually has, other hits prior to the song. And one of the things, like, before I go off on a tangent, Shabuzi actually wrote 2 songs collaborated with Beyonce on 2 songs on the Cowboy Carter album. And so it's no brain. To me, it's not a surprise that he worked with her in that capacity, because I mean, like, if you're going to put on a great country album, you got to have some heavy hitters that's behind you that got a good pen. So it's not surprising, especially with him, performing at the level that he performs at. But I really, really enjoyed his whole vibe on the stage. I really appreciate, his artistry. I think that, when Beyonce came out with Cowboy Carter, she received a lot of backlash about being a country music musician. And surprisingly, to my knowledge, Shabuzi is receiving a lot of support from the others. The others. He's receiving a lot of attention, and he's receiving a lot of support from the Country Music Association. And all those people that typically critique and kind of gatekeep when it comes to country music, he's been kind of able to break down that barrier. He actually performed at the CMA festival, and I mean, the people in the crowd, like, they were very much happy to see him. Now, I can't say that they all, were singing to the top of their lungs as if they would, if they saw Blake Shelton or something like that, but they gave him his props, and for that, he deserves a round of applause. He deserves a round of applause. I think that he broke down that, invisible barrier between us and them when it comes to country music. So I love to see it. Love to see it. One of the things, now this part, I think that it's subjective. I think that some of y'all might eat me up for saying what I'm about to say, because I feel as though before I saw it, somebody was like, Jaquan. But I think it was an amazing touch to his performance to put Jaquan on there, because the song goes, somebody pull me up a double shot of whiskey, something, something, cause I'm getting tipsy. So the way that they slipped it in there, everybody in the club getting tipsy. Everybody in the club. Listen, I was here for it. Listen, I love the nostalgia. I think that whoever thought about doing that, like, it was an amazing touch. I'm here for it. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Let me know how did you feel about Shabuzi's performance, and how did you feel about him bringing out Jaquan? Like, could you have done without it, or was it a nice touch? Let me know in the comments. Now, the next sauce-worthy performance, we gotta give our props and our tributes to the young ones coming up. So I thought it only right that we speak about Van Van and Harris. Van Van and Harris, which is T.I. and Tiny's daughter. Van Van is a internet sensation that has been, blowing up for a nice little while now. And she's been blowing up because she's so stinking cute. That's number one. She's so adorable. But she got the bars, she got rhymes for her age, like for her to have that type of presence and flow and charisma. I think that's why, we got adults that are like, yeah, like, go ahead, Van Van, get it. And of course, with parents like Tiny and T.I., Harris is destined for greatness. So they performed their song Be You. Van Van had her verses. And I was like, okay, Van Van, get it. And the crowd was going wild. And then when Harris started to sing, I was like, I feel like my mouth didn't close the whole time she was singing, because I was just like, oh my God. Like, she's still, like, you can tell that she's a kid, so she's still trying to, get her flow. You can tell that, she's trying to get the moves and things of that nature. And that's okay. She got a lot of time to perfect that and get that right. But one of the things that I think is so amazing about Harris at her big age is that she also has a very big personality like Van Van. And she can sing her behind off. Like, we know that they got her singing lessons and a singing coach very young, young for her to be in the game. So it's no surprise that her voice is as good as it is, but it's like, wow, I can't wait to see what her voice transform into, because right now she's singing big girl lyrics. Like, I was like, I felt like it was the anthem. I'm like, yes. Like, I didn't feel like I was watching two little girls perform. I felt like I was watching two young stars be born, to be honest. So let's go ahead and give the young ones a round of applause, because they deserve it. It takes a lot to get on a stage. It takes a lot to get on a stage and overcome being in front of all of those people, the fear of messing up, all of those things, like if the fear of not measuring up to your parents. Like, it's a lot of pressure that these kids go through. So I definitely think that they deserve a round of applause. So they did it for me. Those were my top 3 sauce-worthy performances at the BET Awards. Now, this next one, okay? Miss Lauryn Hill, Miss Hill. she made an appearance at the BET Awards after a long time of being, in a hiatus away from the music industry. Like we've seen, Miss Lauryn Hill pop out on a tour recently, and we know that her reputation precedes her as being late and all these other things. But what I will say is you cannot take it away from Miss Lauryn Hill, no matter how bad her attitude is. Look, what Whoopi Goldberg said, Rita something with an attitude. Yeah, she got a little bit of an attitude. But I think that with that being said, we cannot take away the fact that she has true talent. One thing we cannot say is that Sis' voice lost any beat. Okay, the microphone was on. Okay, there was a lot of people now. When we talk about microphones being on, there was a lot of people who didn't have their microphones on, but Miss Lauryn Hill wasn't one of them. Okay, Miss Lauryn Hill, she sung her heart out. She came, she sounded amazing. Of course, she has this new quirky little style that she has, but whatever, that's her life, her prerogative. That's what she chooses to wear. Let her wear a comforter to the BET Awards. Shit, I don't care. I was just happy to see her for real. Now, I do wish that she would have gave us another song, another song that we love to hear from her. But I think that a person such as herself who dropped one of the most amazing, and they consider it a rap album, one of the most amazing rap albums, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. The fact that she got into the game, she released that one album, she got out of the game, and the fact that we still bump that album to this day is why she deserves an applause. I think that after, her hiatus of not being able to perform on, any stage for a long time, I think that she's doing an amazing job at showing us that she's still that girl. She's still that girl. So her performance was with her son. She brought out her son, YG Marley, who currently has a song out right now. His song right now is called Praise Jah in the Moonlight. So his song is called Praise Jah in the Moonlight. And I know you all heard it because it's another song that's popping on TikTok. These roads are shining. I'm not even about to. Look, y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to sing it because I don't really know the words for real. But I know when he's singing, I'd be like, these passions of fire. Look, I just feel so happy and light and free. So that song is contagious to me. It's been blowing up all over TikTok. And let's think about this, okay? Obviously, his last name is Marley. So we know that Miss Lauryn Hill procreated with one of the Marley brothers, one of the Marley sons. So her son is a direct descendant of the late Bob Marley. So of course, if you put those type of powerhouses together, you put Lauryn Hill with the Marley family, because everybody in their family is talented. You get a voice like an angel. He has a voice that is so different. It's so different. And I love that for him because we're in an era where a lot of people sound the same. So the fact that he has that, sweet, sultry voice, but it has power behind it. I love it. I'm here for it. So give him a round of applause. Now, nepotism is alive and well, and I'm here for it. Now, I'm going to take a break from the BET Awards just for a second, giving y'all spilling the tea on it. But right now, it's time for Conspiracy Talk. So it's time for Conspiracy Talk. Listen, we're going to jump back into some of the less favorable acts from the BET Awards. But right now, because we're talking about Miss Lauryn Hill, we got to give y'all a good conspiracy. Now, for those who watched the BET Awards, there was a moment, okay? So she brought her son out on the stage. So, she brought her son out. He sung his song. He comes out. He goes, he tends to the crowd or whatever. There's a moment. Now I'm going to show y'all this. There's a moment that he walks up towards her. Now you can tell that he trips over a cord or something like that. And then 2 seconds later, you can see, you see the crowd. Okay, so hold on. Let me back up for a second. So you see the crowd all happy-go-lucky, dancing, vibing with Miss Hill. He trips over this cord. The next time that you see the camera go back to the crowd, the crowd is like, they look shocked. They look like they saw a ghost. And the funny thing about it is, so of course I saw clips about this moment before I watched the BT Awards, but it kind of was like, okay, out of sight, out of mind. I kind of forgot about it until the moment that I actually saw it. And I was like, what the heck? Something really happened for the reaction of these people. Like, I mean, they were straight up like, it's Friday night. I ain't got no kids. Look, they dancing, having a great old time. Then something happened and they all just like, and then some of them like, black people. We may not say it, but our face definitely going to say it every single time. So there was a moment. Something happened. Of course, they panned the camera away from the stage. So we don't know what happened. And now we also know that they do heavy editing before they even post the replay. Okay. Something happened. Now, the word on the street is, this is the conspiracy. This is the theory. The theory is that Miss Lauryn Hill had a shape-shifting moment. Conspiracy or not. Let me tell you something. I went down a whole rabbit hole with this situation. Look, not rabbit hole. Look, I went down a rabbit hole, okay, with this situation. If you type in Lauryn Hill shape-shifting. Now, the thing about it is, we've heard about Lauryn Hill shape-shifting, and we heard about her ties to the Illuminati, and that being the reason why she allegedly, got out of the music industry, and we didn't see much from her, whatever. And I loosely believe it. But I believe him even more after going down my rabbit hole. There is a man, right? Look. It sent me down a huge rabbit hole. There's a man. His name is Donald Marshall. Donald Marshall, if you don't know who he is, because I didn't know who he was before today. Donald Marshall is apparently a clone facility whistleblower. He claims to have been created from birth as a clone and things of that nature. So he doesn't have parents or whatever the case may be. And basically, he's most known for blowing the whistle on these cloning facilities. And one of the clips on TikTok, he actually discusses Lauryn Hill. He discusses the fact that apparently Lauryn Hill, they, invited her to the cloning facility or whatever the case may be. Apparently she, was on board with whatever the situation was. She stayed in the game, got her money, ran up a check, secured the bag, and then she decided, yeah, this is not what I thought it was, so I'm going to go ahead and head out. And he explains it as if normally they don't let people walk away from that type of situation. But he says that Lauryn Hill was so overcome with emotion, to the point where she was crying and snotting out of her nose and things of that nature. And they felt bad for her. And that's why they let her go. But that's also why we got to see on the back end her go through all of those legal troubles and things of that nature, because they pretty much had to recoup their funds. They put all their money in her, and now she's saying she don't want nothing to do with it. Now, where it gets interesting is this man also talks a lot about. Now, we've talked about I don't know if I talked about reptilians and stuff on here, but for those of the tinfoil hat community, my brethren, okay, y'all know what I'm talking about when I say reptilians. Now, the thing about reptilians is I always thought dang, okay, we got people who allegedly are reptiles or whatever, but how? But how? I never knew, but until I went down this rabbit hole. So apparently there is something called a vril, VRIL, and Donald Marshall talks about this experience because him being so tied to the cloning world or whatever the case may be, he apparently knows a lot of information. So he gets to talking about the vril. The vril is apparently a extraterrestrial parasite type of thing that basically takes over one's body and acts as if it's a human being, kind of killing the person inside, but they act as if they're human. And I'm like, okay, now that I can make sense of. A parasite that apparently attaches to the eyeball, feeds off of it, and basically, like I said, replicates being a human being. That's this its sole purpose or whatever. So you add that along with the whole aspect of, selling your soul, signing that type of contract, whatever the case may be, and now you got something that's inhabiting a vessel and basically outwardly portraying something else. Now, I'm gonna tell you why I believe that this conspiracy is true. I know it sounds crazy, y'all. I was on the fence. It was either two things for me. Either she did a blow. Look, if she did a blow on the stage, either she did a blow on the stage and they was like, "What the hell?" Or she actually shape-shifted. Because you can't say that her own son didn't even look weird after that moment. And it took a while before the crowd kind of, bounced back from that situation. And then if you look at the videos of her performing all the way up until that point, she sounded like Lauryn Hill. She had her nice little cadence, her whole little vibe, eclectic vibe. Her voice was nice. After that moment, sis went into a demon time type of rap flow. She was not even on beat. And I felt like she was singing for her life, okay? She was rapping for her life at that point. Something, look, very much something, very much something happened. You can't tell me that sis was just chill and that out of nowhere, her whole persona just changed. And I don't know about you, it felt eerie to me. Something felt eerie about it. I was like, look, I don't really know what's going on, but something is going on. So, I don't know. Listen, you guys let me know in the chat, okay? Y'all let me know in the chat. Is it conspiracy or not? Because to me, it's a whole full-blown conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. Call me crazy if you want to. Now, back to the regular scheduled program. Back to the regular scheduled program. Back to spilling the tea. Everything about the BET Awards. I just had to get that off my chest real quick because, baby, something ain't right. But back to regularly scheduled program. Now, we talked about the Sauce-worthy performances. We've talked about, all those who I thought did an amazing job. Victoria Monet, Shabuzi, Van and Harris. And even though I think Lauryn Hill shapeshifted on the daggone stage, Miss Lauryn Hill, listen, the mic was on at some point. She was present for a little while. But after a while, I had to say, get out. Get out. Listen, she was fighting for her life. Anyway. Now, we're going to move on to the more questionable performances of the BET Awards. Kirk Franklin and Will Smith. It didn't do it for me. It didn't do it for me. I felt like the set design fit the vibe of Will Smith, the actor. But Will Smith, the rapper... It was just a bit dramatic for me. It was supposed to be the rebirth of the Fresh Prince or something along that line. That's how they was promoting it. But it kind of like, don't get me wrong, he came out and he had a nice little flow. It was Will Smith. It was Will Smith. He had a nice little flow. And what the message was seemingly good. But where it kind of lost me was when the choir came out. And then when Kirk Franklin came out. Because I was so confused. Why is Kirk Franklin on the stage right now? Like, it really confused me. At this point, if it hasn't been said before, Kirk Franklin is the Diddy of gospel. All up in the videos. All up on the stage at the award shows. Sir, it's okay for you to sit in your seat sometimes. We don't need a hype man. So the whole performance threw me off. It threw me off collectively. I'm going to say it made me feel like how I feel about Jonathan Majors For those who don't know, and even if you don't know, you must live under a rock. Will Smith slapped the crap out of Chris Rock, and that was kind of the last thing that we got to see him do. And so he took a large hiatus. Well, that wasn't the last thing. We saw that. Then we saw his wife embarrass him and all this crap. So now everybody feels bad for him and blah, 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 blah. And so he goes on this hiatus, and, you know, then we see him resurface with the Bad Boys franchise, with the newest movie that just came out. So we get to see him. Okay, now he has that role. He had another role, but I don't think many people probably went out to see it. And so to me, it puts me in the mindset of he's trying to win us back over. He's trying to make us forget that he slapped that man on TV. I believe that his PR team is probably just trying to restore his image at some point and try to make him look like the strong, you know, black actor that we used to, you know, kind of fiend over before. The one that we used to run to the box office like quickly for. Because he kind of low key, you know, probably fell off after that situation because people were like, what is going on? Like, I think it was mixed reviews, but that's probably why I feel like that performance didn't hit the mark for me, is because I feel like he was just trying to like give us some content that made us like, you know, want to love him again. But hey, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. How did y'all feel about it? Let me know in the chat. How did you feel about Will Smith's performance as a whole? And how did you feel about Kirk Franklin coming out shucking and jiving on the corner of the stage? Let me know in the chat. Now, the last thing that was a little questionable for me. I'm gonna let y'all chime into the chat. Listen, this is the interactive portion of this show. I'm gonna let y'all chime into the chat and let me know. Now, they had an award for Best New Artist. Out of all the categories that they said, I could see every award that they gave. But the one that I was completely shocked by was Best New Artist. And the reason why I was shocked by Best New Artist is because of, don't get me wrong, the person who won the award, I believe that she's an amazing performer. I think that she has a really dope, like, pure personality. Like, I love, like, she's just so cute. Like, and her song made waves this year as well. If you don't know who I'm talking about Tyler. Make me sweat, make me hotter, make me lose my breath in your water. Tyler came out of nowhere and took over the game with that song. Like, I mean, everybody everywhere was loving it. Everybody everywhere was doing the dance. So I'm going to give her props. She also, even though she wasn't on my list of people that was sauce-worthy performances, I believe that she did a really good job with her performance as well. Like, you could tell that she takes her craft very seriously, especially for her to be as young as she is. And I love to see how humble she is as well. So I just love her personality. I love her persona. So I don't want to take anything away from her, but at the same time, it made me wonder, was I the only one that felt like maybe somebody else should have won? The people that were in her category. So she had, now don't start me the line, I don't know who 41 is. I don't know who 4 Bats is. And look, and chill on me. Look, I'm over 30 now. Chill on me. I don't know who Ira Star is. Now I do know Boss Man D-Lo, Friday, October London, and then we got Sexy Red. Best New Artist. Let's talk about Best New Artist. Let's think about this. Now, me personally, I'm going to tell you, for me, the only competition that she had in this category, the only competition that she had was probably Boss Man D-Lo, because I feel as though he's been putting on, and even though a lot of his music sounds the same, but he has a very different type of flow. And he has a nice voice. So I believe that, you know, he was competition for sure. I believe that Friday was competition for sure. And Sexy Red was competition for sure. Now, those of you who don't know Friday, his most notable song is, hold on, listen, it's escaping me because I like a lot of his music. But Friday's most notable song is, I won't waste my time. Girl, I won't waste my time when it comes to you. Put my all aside, give it all to you. Like, so I love Friday. That's one of his most notable songs. And then, of course, Sexy Red. Get it sexy. Get it sexy. Listen, I don't mean no harm. I don't mean no harm. And I know I'm not going to come off as a hypocrite because I never said on this podcast that I don't like Sexy Red. Okay. Now, I may not like the whole, my booty hole brown. I may not like that whole situation, but her music is super catchy. She's super catchy. She seems like she's really down to earth, to be honest. And who am I to judge? Who am I to judge her for how she chooses to live her life? Listen. So Sexy Red, her music to me and her following that she has, being that she is a new artist, I don't know. It puts her up there. Like, honestly, Tyler to me, like Tyler has Make Me Sweat. She got that one song. But honestly, and correct me if I'm wrong, what other songs do you all know by her? I'll wait. Exactly. Exactly. What other songs do you know by her? So, when it comes to Friday, I like a lot of his music. His album, I mean, his debut album, every song was a freaking hit. Every song was a hit. Now, whether and I do believe that he got a good following behind him. So personally, from a personal perspective, Friday would have did it for me as best new artist. Friday would have did it for me. However, I totally feel conflicted because Sexy Red to me should have took home that performance. She should have took home that award. She should have took it home. I don't mean no harm. Sexy Red has a cult following at this point. Get it sexy. Ooh, baby. All right, listen. I love Sexy Red. I'm not gonna lie. I feel as though at this point she's my guilty pleasure for real. Like when it comes to the female rappers, like she's definitely my guilty pleasure. I still stand 100% besides Big Lotto. That's my baby. And I loved just getting off a tangent for a minute because, you know, we talk about female rap artists. I love the collaboration between Glorilla and Meg Thee Stallion. Like, I kind of got to give Glorilla her props as well, even though she wasn't in that category, because Big Glow, she came out and look, little booties matter. She came out and shook that thing. I said, oh, oh, Big Glow. Listen, I love Glow. I think Glow, right now, Memphis is up with their music, with their rappers. But I love to see the camaraderie between her and Meg Thee Stallion because we don't get to see that camaraderie between female rappers a lot. But back to the category at hand. Best new artist. Out of all the names that I named, do you feel like Tyler should have took the award home? My answer is no. I don't feel as though she should have took it home. But let me know in the chat. Now, before I let y'all go for the night, before I wrap it up, okay, I told y'all this episode was going to have a lot in it because we missed last week. And hey, listen, I know there was other things that happened, like the presidential debate between Donald Trump and dementia. I mean, Joe Biden. But we're not going to talk about that. Anyway, this week we talk about the BET Awards, okay? So, of course, I have to talk about one situation with y'all before I let y'all go. Now, for those who've seen it live, y'all saw the situation that happened between Keith Lee and Taraji. Now, before I go into what I really want to say, Taraji, she hosted the entire BET Awards. She started off with this amazing type of freestyle to Not Like Us. And from that point on, sis was changing outfits every 5 minutes, like clockwork. And all of those gowns were amazing, okay? The abs was abbing. The booty was bootying. Listen, she came out there and she did what she had to do. One thing I will say, though, is because the crowd is changing at this point, Don't get me wrong. We all love Taraji, and Taraji is very multifaceted, but I believe that they need to pass the torch on to somebody else. Only reason being is because I felt like she kind of missed the mark with a couple of her jokes. Like, it was like she told a joke and it was like, like we were just sitting there like, cringy, cringy. But with that being said, listen, I'm not gonna take nothing from her because she hosted the hell out of that show. I know it takes a lot of stamina. I know it takes a lot of preparation. I know it takes a lot of expertise. So I will never take that away from her because shit, I don't know if I could do it. Okay. Listen. So she did a good job. I'm not going to say that she didn't. But the situation remains with the whole Keith Lee situation. Now, for those of y'all who don't know Keith Lee is, well, I got this Chipotle. We're going to rate it 1 out of 10. Listen, that's Keith Lee. He's this food critic. Well, he's an ex, he's an ex, what is it, MMA fighters or whatever it is. He's an ex fighter, but most known today for his food reviews. And basically what he does, he goes all over the country, he reviews food, he rates it 1 through 10, and basically he's coined what is called now the Keith Lee effect. Basically, he could take a dying business who gets 1 customer per week to a line around the corner and make a millionaire out of a black business in a day. Okay. That's the type of person that Keith Lee is. I love Keith Lee. I love everything about him. I love the fact that he's humble. I love the fact that he's open about how much he loves God, how much he loves his wife, how much he loves his family. I love the fact that he's true to himself, and he a real nigga. Listen, he a real nigga, okay? The reason why I say he a real nigga. So Taraji, right? Taraji, she has a segment where she's like, oh, I'm gonna give y'all flowers type shit. So she goes around in the crowd and she's talking to certain people and she's giving them a rose. So particularly when she gets to giving Keith Lee his rose, she goes down to where he's supposed to be seating. She actually walks up on Jordan, who is another, I think his name is Jordan, walks up on another influencer, mega influencer, who has grown popularity over the past year or so, and basically starts talking to him. And when she's talking to him, she's saying stuff that we would recognize Keith Lee about. And then literally he's like, awkward. He goes, so she goes backwards. But you see his wife sitting there. Now, is a picture of his wife going around, and she has the nastiest face, nastiest face on. She was like, and so Taraji, because she's trained, she picks it back up. She tries to pick it back up anyway and not make it such a noticeable mistake. But it was so lackadaisical. She gets to flirting with him in front of his wife. So his wife is looking crazy now. Like, hold up, sis. Even though we know she probably ain't mean no harm by it or nothing like that. But it was just cringy. And she proceeds to give him this flower. And then she's like, she walks on. And so the drama is this. The drama is the fact, number one, people are upset that she didn't know who Keith Lee was, number one. And then number two, Keith Lee made a video after the award show with his rose, and he made a video dropping it saying, hey, we'll get recognized when the time is right. Whatever is for me is for me. It won't pass me by. It's just not my time right now. Da 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 da. And he drops the rose. Well, apparently, and I'm going to say allegedly because I don't know because clickbait. People post a lot of stuff saying somebody said something, but they really didn't say it. So Taraji may or may not have responded to him, but I believe that she did. And when she responded to him, she said, well, he missed his opportunity and all this other stuff. And so a lot of people are upset with her because of how she carried him. But then there's other people who are on her side saying, yeah, he just a food critic. He need to get it together. He ain't all of that. Da 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 da. Like, shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. Look, that's all I got to say about that because it really bothered me. I feel as though I'm not going to blame Taraji because at the end of the day, Taraji did her job. They do give people a certain assigned seats or whatever the case may be. He happened to not be in the seat that he was supposed to be in. So I can see how that would mess her up. But my thing is from the behind the scenes standpoint, we are in 2024. Y'all don't think that y'all should be showing these hosts a picture of who you're talking about, especially now that we're adding this extra layer of recognizing influencers, because influencers now have celebrity status. I'm not going to say that Taraji should have known who Keith Lee was. It's freaking Taraji. Hello. She got a lot of other things on her plate. So I don't blame her for not knowing who he was, but I blame whoever was responsible for preparing her for that moment for not showing her pictures of the influencers, people that she may not know. Because if that was the case, that mistake would have never happened. Just that extra level of security would have not humiliated my guy on his first ever award show. So I don't know. I just feel as though chill on my boy Keith. Chill on him. I feel he has a really pure heart. I don't have no problem with him dropping that rose because I understood what he meant. When you know what God has for you is for you, you're not sweating over the little stuff, okay? I think that for him, it was like, you know what? More work to do. I got more work to do. If Taraji don't know who I am, I got more work to do. Today wasn't my day to receive my flower. I'll receive it on a better occasion, because you almost don't even want to accept it because it seems disingenuous at that point. At that point, you're giving me a flower, telling me you're giving me my flowers, but you don't even know who I am. So how can you possibly appreciate me and salute me for what it is that I'm doing? And I'm just going to leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. How did you feel about the whole Keith Lee and Taraji situation? Was he wrong for dropping his rose? Do you feel bad about Taraji and what she did? How do you feel? Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Well, guys, let me take a little sip of my drink. All right. We are now at the end of the Sister Talk podcast. I hope you all enjoyed this BET recap, this BET Awards recap. Because y'all know I had to get into it with y'all. Because the BET Awards to me is very lackluster. Like, it used to be something that we got very excited for. We wanted to, see certain people perform. We knew it was going to be a star-studded event. We knew it was going to be for the culture. All these different things. But I think that lately it's been missing the mark. I think that now the crowd is changing because, all of our older people, God forbid, they're either passed away or they're like kind of on their last leg. So we don't have any more of that classic music. Now we got straight up new age stuff. So when Usher said, oh, you know what? I didn't even talk to y'all about the tribute. I didn't even talk to y'all about the tribute. Listen. If y'all want me to give my thoughts on the tribute, put it down in the chat, and I'll address that at the beginning of the next episode. But only if y'all want me to talk about Usher's tribute performance lineup, because that was another big situation that people had a lot to say about on TikTok. And I have thoughts about it as well. It may not be a popular opinion, but I do have thoughts on how that whole situation played out. So let me know in the chat if you want me to start off next week's episode talking about that tribute before I move on to all the spill the tea topics for that week. But thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Sister Talk podcast. I'm your sister Gold Chain Diva. And if you want to follow me on any platform, you can follow me at goldchain__diva. And I'll be sure to give you a follow back, and make sure that y'all subscribe. Listen, subscribe. We still trying to get this joint to 200 subscribers. So help me get there. Tell a friend to tell a friend to send a friend to subscribe. And we're going to make this goal, y'all. So help me make my goal. Thanks for tuning in and have a great night.